Okay, welcome to this video tutorial. My name is Samuel Vidal, and in this second part of this tutorial we're going to be focusing on exporting 3D model in a .fbx file, and then we'll be importing the fbx file into Blender. So we're just going to go ahead and in File tab here, we're going to go to the Export options, and where it says here FBX clone character, just gonna select that. Then you're gonna see here different options. First, you're gonna select the top one here where it says Maya, but of course we're not using that. This is for different 3D programs here. We're gonna look for the one for Blender, which is the one I'm gonna use. Then down here in texture setting, where you have this checkbox selected in embedded texture, that means that when it export the character, the textures are going to be within the FBX file. Now if you uncheck that, then when you export the model, it'll be put, the texture will be put in a separate folder for you to access them. And that's what I'm gonna do here. I'm just gonna uncheck that. Then I will come here and where it says include motion and go to custom, and here I'm just gonna select her pose, because the default pose of the models here are the T pose. So if you don't select nothing here, then that's how they're gonna show up when you import them in Blender, like a T pose. Well, I'm just gonna go and select there in the folder, in character creator 3 template motion. I'm just gonna look for that stand F that I selected early in the previous video. And then now everything else remains the same, default options here. And then I'm gonna export it. I'm gonna look for the folder and I'm gonna export this. Starlight. And that's it. Of course, make sure, because in the previous video I have mentioned that everything that you have to buy separate here, all those packs and files, make sure you're buying the export version, because they had two versions. If you don't buy the export version, then you're not going to be able to export this in FBX file. And now we're done with this. So now let's go here, open Blender. In this video I'm only gonna focus only on the texture, editing the textures, and then I'll keep doing all the parts so I don't make the video too long. So first thing I'm gonna do is save this file, and I'm gonna go to my desktop and say this file Starlight. Then I'm gonna press 1. Hold on, cause I forgot to, let me see. I know there's a setting here to be able to so it will display the shortcuts every time I press a key, but I can't just remember where exactly it is, so I apologize about that. I'll figure it out for the next video. So I will be pressing X on the keyboard to delete this cube, and pressing 1 on the numpad for the front view here. And I'm gonna go to File, and I'm going to go import .fbx file here. Select, here it is, in the folder that I saved it. and it'll take a few seconds to come up in the viewport. And there she is. And I'm gonna go to the material shading option here, so we can see. Okay, let's just hit a render here for a moment to see how she looks. Yeah, it takes a while. Okay, this is how she looks in the rendering. Okay, notice I'm gonna first edit the skin texture because she looks way too, you know, too white, and I want her to look a little bit more, darker. So, in order for me to fix that, I'm just going to select the body, and for the material we have different options because you see in here is you have the head material, the body material, arm and leg. So I'm going to start with the head, and here in the node editor I'm just going to check the settings here. See, like for example, specular is in zero at zero. The roughness is at 0.668, and normal map is 0.98. The only thing I'm gonna be, adjusting here is the specular, and give her some brightness. And I'm gonna lower a little bit the roughness so she looks tiny bit shining. The 0.55. See. Now, in order for me to make her skin look more darker, I'm just gonna go to the add tab here, and on the color I'm just gonna add a RGB curve here. Then I'm gonna add knot here, and I'm gonna set this in the X value 0.5, and then on the Y value 0.3. As you notice now that the skin got a little more darker, but now when we hit render, see, it doesn't really look that dark, but it looks pretty much a tone that I kind of like. Okay, so now I'm just gonna do the rest for the body. Here, 2, 155. Come here, RGB. Important to save. Skin, the same thing. The arm skin. Specular 2.2. Uh-oh, what did I do? I think in the arm. Okay. 0.5, 0.3. We save. Now, see, that's more like it. Now I'm just gonna select her hair and make sure everything looks, kind of like in a way that I would like. I will lower this to 0.2. The specular Same thing I will do with this 1.2. Everything else remains the same. Okay, now we select the jacket, and first I will put a specular here of 0.2, but you notice that the roughness here on this jacket is to 0, so this probably means that it's going to be very glossy. And since this is leather, I don't want it that glossy, so I'm just gonna put like a 0.4. Oh well, this is actually for the brass latches here. That's why I'm not seeing any changes. But that's okay, because I mean, I'm on the other videos, I'm going to be deleting all this. That's what I'm trying to say. So this one is where, see, you notice now when I raise the specular here, now it looks very shining. And just gonna put that like a 0.4, and just gonna come here and select this settings here on the modifier properties. So I just selecting that setting there. Hold on. So when I go into tap mode here, it states there, and I'm just gonna to shade smooth this faces here, so it doesn't look wrinkled. Now it's just gonna save, because sometimes Blender crashes. We do a render testing here. See, that's how it's supposed to look. Now if you notice the corset behind it too, we need to edit that and do adjusting the color a little more darker, and as well as the trousers. See, even though in the character creator 3 they look almost the same, and here in Blender it looks a different kind of tone of purple, so I may have to adjust that here. Okay, so for that, first of all, you notice that in this material you're gonna see a different type of other texture because it's using a PBR. But the thing is that I have seen with Character Creator 3 and Blender is the way model looks in the Character Creator 3 is not exactly the way it looks in Blender. Um, so for that reason, I usually don't. I'll end up taking this textures like the specular texture and the alpha, because then it's gonna start you know displaying this, like sometimes it'll displaying transparent or too bright, and for that reason I rather put my own settings. So I'm just gonna take this off and the specular off, and then just gonna set it to 0.2, and then the roughness here can stay about the same, like 0.4, almost like the leather. See, I need to, no, okay. In this case, because when I did the render before, it looked so bright, I'm just gonna add a hue saturation. And now let me hit save. And I'm just gonna hit render here to see, and then I'm just going to decrease this value here to make it more darker. See, right about that. It's 7. Okay, that looks good. Now we're gonna select her trousers. I'm not going to edit, like I say in the previous video. Like I'm just going to cut this part here. I'm just going to do that in another video. So for now, I'm just going to adjust the textures. See, if you notice the setting for this texture, See, specular is at 1, but I'm guessing if I lower to 0.2, boom, see, it doesn't look that bright. Still, I may have to add a hue saturation to still fix to make it more darker. Let me see, roughness. Roughness can go to 0.4, I'm guessing. Okay. Now I'm just gonna add a hue saturation around 0.7. Save. I still think that, let me see, if I lower the saturation, now I still think I should lower a little bit. I'm just gonna put 0.98. No, 0.95. Yeah, okay, I guess it looks nice like that. I don't know. Okay, we save and we move on for the boots. See the same thing, a specular map here and opacity. I just take those off. Lower this to 0.2. The boots, they kind of like leather, so yeah, put like the 0.4 there. And let me see something. Let's see how that pink. Usually, I could lower a little bit of pink and make it darker a little bit too. So let's just add here a hue saturation. And yeah, I guess. Nah. I guess it'll be fine like that. Now I'm just gonna select this armature, not amateur, armature. Sorry about that. And, and when it says viewport display here, where it says octahedral, I'm just gonna select stick and then select in front. And that way, we'll be blocking most of the character. Okay, now I'm going to select the gloves. Now, if you notice, I don't know why. I need to figure out this, why it looks kind of like with, this spots in here. I don't know what's causing that. What is this a setting? The only way I have figured out to fix it is if I go here to the modifier tab and add a subdivision surface, and you're going to see that, yes, it fixes it. Maybe the normals are not quite correct. I don't know. I will have to figure that out. So the settings, you see specular too high. And then the roughness, we're going to put 0.4. So now let's do a render testing. Okay, moving on to Embrace. Let me make sure I'm not forgetting anything. I have the skin here, the jacket, cassette, glove, trouser, boots. Okay, I think this is the last thing. Let me just lower the roughness to 0.4, specular 0.2. So notice it looks too bright. So again, just gonna add here a hue saturation. Just gonna lower increase the saturation and lower the value, or increase it around there. Okay, 1.1. Okay. This is the leather part here. So for this part here, it looks like a metal part here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come here and create a new material with the same one with Vambrace, except that now I'm just gonna select to add a new material. Like that same material, I'm just gonna do a second one here. See, I'm just gonna change it to Vambrace 2, and then see, like, look where it goes, and all you have to do is on the armature, you select these two settings, it'll be there. So I will be selecting this part, the vambrace, and also this little um what's it called? I even forgot how they're called. Sorry. And I'm going to assign this the vambrace material to. And now I'm just gonna um, edit the. This is a metallic. This is the metallic setting here. I'm just gonna put into 1. It'll look metallic. I'm just going to boost the saturation so it looks pink, and increase the value here, and then lower this to 0.2. I don't know, it looks too shiny, I guess. 0.3. And now, see, it doesn't look that bad. Doesn't look that bad at all. Okay, and for this video, I think she's done for now. And on the next video, what I will be doing is the jacket. If you notice in the photo, see the two colors, I will be editing that, and I will be cutting parts of the jacket here because, again, you see, that's what I did in the previous one, and cutting the trousers and fixing this, you know. And that's what's going to be in the third part of the video. So thank you for watching, and if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you for watching.